What's good, guys? I'm Danny, and in today's video we're going to be breaking down how to create this underground effect from Lazer Dim's Samsung phone music video. I really like the way this effect looked, and I want to show you guys how to create it. Also, big shout out to the VFX artists. I'll have their information down in the description. Now let's get into the video. So this was the exact effect that they used in the actual music video, and we're going to be creating something similar to this, but it's not going to look the exact same. We're just going to be using this as a reference. All right, so here I have these two clips from the same exact music video. And let's start off by creating that blur fade out and then fade in transition. So create a new adjustment layer, Control-Alt-Y. Make this adjustment layer 23 frames. If you hold the shift button and click page down twice, that goes forward 20 frames. And then just click the page down button 3 more times. Once you cut the adjustment layer, make sure to drag it so that there's 7 frames above the first clip. And then there's going to be 16 frames above the second clip. And the reason why we're doing that is because I want the transition to animate out a lot faster from the first clip. And then once it animates in to the second clip, I want it to be smoother, which is why there's more frames above the second clip. So for the first effect, let's add a directional blur. Keyframe the blur length at 0 in the beginning. Click that adjustment layer, click U to reveal the keyframes, and let's go to where the cut is and really increase the blur length. I'm going to increase that to 130. Keyframe that right there. Go towards the end of the adjustment layer. Keyframe that back to 0. Then you want to ease the keyframes. So when it comes to this directional blur effect, it creates this transparent edges at the top as well as the bottom. So the easy way to fix that is we're going to be adding a motion tile. Make sure the motion tile is above the directional blur. Increase the output width to 200. Click mirror edges, and that gets rid of the transparency. For the next effect, let's add a transform. Keyframe the opacity at 100% at the start. Go towards where the cut is. And let's lower the opacity to 30%. Then go forward 6 frames. Keyframe the opacity back to 100%. So I want it to fade in a lot faster before the directional blur effect. After doing that, let's ease the keyframes. And this is what we have for the transition so far. I think that looks really smooth. Next thing we're going to do is rotoscope our subject. Actually, let's turn this adjustment layer off for now. Go to your second clip and we're going to rotoscope our subject. Grab the rotobrush tool, double click your layer. And for those that don't know how to rotobrush, you can hold the control button, left click, and drag your mouse to make your brush either bigger or smaller. And if you want to get rid of any unwanted parts, you can hold the alt button, left click, and then just drag over that part so it gets rid of that rotoscope. I'm going to now rotoscope my subject. After rotoscoping, make sure to hit the freeze button in order to lock in your rotoscope. Then go back into the composition, and then let's adjust the settings. Increase the mask feather to 10, decrease the shift edge so that the edges are a lot smoother. I'll just decrease that to -50, and then duplicate this layer, click Ctrl D. For the bottom layer, I'll rename that to BG for background. I'll just rename this to Lazer. For the bottom layer, delete the rotobrush effect, and we're going to be adding an effect called crop edges to this background layer. So once you add that effect, we can now control the length as well as the width of this background layer. And I only want to crop out the top and the bottom. So let's actually turn off the crop left as well as crop right. Similar to how they did it in the music video, we're going to be animating the background so that the length gets smaller and only focus on the crop edges effect. So keyframe the crop amount at 0% at the start. And then let's go forward 16 frames. Keyframe this around like 17% should look good. Ease the keyframes. Go into the graph editor and grab the point on the right. Drag it towards the left so that the influence is at 100%. That way it animates in fast and it slows down towards the end. So I think this looks really dope where we have a rotoscope subject overlapping with the background layer. Now we're going to be adding a few effects to this rotoscope layer. For the first one, we're going to be adding a mosaic. And what this effect does is just pixelate our subject. So it makes it look a lot more low quality. Let's actually turn on the adjustment layer that we made earlier with the transition, just to see how it looks. So I'm actually going to increase the mosaic. Let's increase that just by a little. Increase both the horizontal as well as the vertical blocks to 25, and then keyframe both of them. Go forward 16 frames and keyframe both the horizontal as well as the vertical blocks to 300. That way we get a better quality of our artist. And then ease the keyframes. Go into the graph editor and we're going to create the same keyframes or the same graph that we did for the crop edges effect. So make sure to do that for both the horizontal as well as the vertical blocks. And this is what we have for the effect so far. I think that looks really fire. Next thing we're going to do is add a tint. Once you add the tint, I'm just going to leave the colors as it is because I want my subject to be black and white. But to make it look even better, we're going to be adding a curves. Bring up the highlights so that it's a lot brighter, and then bring down the midtones. So this just adds more depth to our rotoscope layer. So the effect is already looking a lot better. we're going to be doing a few more things. Let's create another adjustment layer. Cut this adjustment layer so that's only one frame, and make sure you have it at the end of your second clip. Let's add a invert, create another adjustment layer. Make sure this one is 5 frames because we're going to be creating a flash effect. So for this one, let's add a mini max. Once you add this effect and increase the radius, it adds a lot of texture to our footage, but I only wanted to affect the horizontal part of this clip. So go to direction and click just horizontal, keyframe the radius at 0 at the start, and then let's go towards the end, keyframe that to 35. Make sure to have that keyframe at the end, and then easy ease both of the keyframes. Then we're going to be adding an exposure because, like I mentioned, we're going to be creating that flash effect. Increase the exposure to around like 1. Make sure to turn on the other adjustment layer. And this is what we have for the effect so far. The final thing we're going to do is create a flicker effect. So let's create another adjustment layer, add the exposure effect, keyframe the exposure at 0 at the start, go forward 2 frames, increase the exposure to 1, and then just keep copying and pasting these keyframes until you reach the end of the adjustment layer. After doing that, make sure to easy ease all the keyframes, and this is what we have for the final effect. I think that looks really dope. So it's not the same exact effect that they did in the actual music video, but something similar, and I really like the way it looks. That's all I have for now. Appreciate you guys for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video.